Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com.
Welcome back, guys, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined today by my guest, Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. A quick reminder, the show is designed and dedicated to building the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets one house at a time. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is the off-air phone number, which is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Or you can visit us via the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. So we had last week, Louis, the existing home sales report came out, which existing home sales declined slightly in September, but the national median home price rose as the inventories tightened. The National Association of Realtors said that completed transactions of single-family homes, townhomes, condos, and co-ops were down 1.7% to a seasonally adjusted rate of 4.75 million units in September. The August sales were revised upward from 4.82 million to 4.83 million. The September number is 11% higher than existing home sales in September 2011, which were at an annual rate of 4.28 million. The median existing home price increased on an annual basis for the seventh consecutive month to $184,900, and this was also an increase of 11.3% from the September 2011 median number, which was $165,300. It's also, the report also showed that the last time that there were 7 consecutive year-over-year increases was from November of 2011 to May of 2006. What do you attribute most of these price increases to, Louis? My thoughts are just, with obviously a low interest rate environment, it's going to create a supply and demand situation where obviously prices are going to rise, especially in the D.C. metro area. We don't have enough supply as for the demand that's out there, so naturally prices should rise up. Is that what your assumption is as well?
I think, everything you read was the national median home price, the national median increase in sales. It has to do with pockets doing well and other pockets not doing well, and you really don't even know how the averages are weighted.
Right.
Like you say, in the D.C. metro area, it's up 6% from a year ago in September, but down 6.5% from August. I think the statistics are pretty much non-conclusive, and that the NAR will always try to read into them the green shoots in the most positive way of looking at it. So I always discount what the NAR says about housing. I mean, in 2005, their economist, I think it was David Leroy, wrote a book, Are You Missing the Real Estate Boom? I have it on my shelf. The boom will not bust, and why property values will continue to climb through the end of the decade. That was 2005. So, it's always a good time to buy a house, according to the NAR. The statistics are always good, no matter how you look at them. I don't make much of them. They're month to month, year over year, and they don't show any consistent trend.
Yeah, interesting that you do say that. The NAR chief economist, currently Lawrence Yun, actually said that despite occasional month-to-month setbacks, we're experiencing a genuine recovery. More people are attempting to buy homes and are able to qualify for mortgages, and recent price increases are not deterring buyer interest. Rather, inventory shortages are limiting sales, notably in parts of the West. I would actually say that it's not necessarily the inventory shortages that are limiting the sales, it's the amount of qualified buyers that are limiting the sales. And I think that would be a more accurate depiction of what's going on right now. There's plenty of people that would love to take advantage of 3% 30-year fixed mortgages, okay? And the fact that they're unable to is the bigger deal. And why most people are unable to is because A, they don't have the credit scores that are required, B, they don't have consistent job history or assets for a down payment to be able to take advantage of them. If we had a genuine recovery, then we would probably have a more healthy job market. And with a healthy job market would lead to more people being able to purchase homes. Since we don't have that, more people are going to be, pushed off to the rental market. They're going to have to go that route because that's the only thing they can do. And in many cases, they're going to be renting with 2 or 3 other people because their one income is not enough to support them just living there on their own. So I do agree with you, Louis, that NAR is more all about them and making it always a good time to buy. Now,
Ryan, it's the National Association of Real Estate. It does you no good to understand the national numbers when you're buying a home in the Washington, D.C. metro. It does you no good to understand anything nationally or to slice or dice those statistics. You need to know what the market is in your area. What it is in the rest of the country really is as relevant as what the real estate market is in Spain or China.
I 100% agree with you, and the fact that the reason why I bring these reports up is because I want to actually then turn and look, okay, well, what's actually going on in the Washington, D.C. metro area as opposed to what this report is stating? Because, we do have rather, low inventory in the D.C. metro area, okay, which is causing prices to rise. And this report that he gave is more for metropolitan-type areas. It's not for, in Nevada and Arizona, those areas that are still struggling, that have many distressed properties. And yet I see all the time, whether you look on Facebook or you look on Twitter, the information that many other real estate agents or other, mortgage professionals, they tend to push this information out there to their clients. And it's not a good idea to do that because it's important to understand, like you said, what's going on locally. And we know that all real estate markets are local and right now hyper-local just because there's pockets, as you suggest, throughout the country of areas that are doing really well and areas that aren't doing so well. So
then you take an average of that, and that doesn't give you the picture.
Right. You get an average of, of sales in the high price range and low price range, and you get somewhere in the middle. That's great, but that doesn't really tell you the full story. I thought that one thing that was interesting in this report, Louis, was that 32% of buyers were first-time home purchasers in September, which was a number that they said had remained somewhat consistent over the last year. But historically, they were saying that first-time home buyers have represented about 40% or more of the market. So for that number to go down also tells me that those first-time home buyers are struggling to get qualified for a mortgage, which I know as a fact is just one of the biggest reasons why loans are not going through these days is just because they can't get qualified for mortgages.
And Ryan, it's also because the majority of first-time home buyers are younger people, and younger people, the 18 to 24, 18 to 30, are less employed now than they were 5-10 years ago. So they don't have jobs, and therefore not only can they not get credit, they don't even have the wherewithal to purchase a home.
Yeah, and another interesting statistic to me, or number in this report, was that 28% of the transactions in September were all cash.
Cash, right.
I mean, that's almost a third of all transactions are basically I would say a large majority of those transactions are investors that are buying these homes with cash.
Up their investment, either credit line from the bank or they've got investors who've given them cash, and their job is to get a strong velocity of transactions going. They take that money, they identify short sale or foreclosures, they buy them as fast as they can, turn them around, get their money working for them, either sell the house or get them rented, and then they're back at it, and they have multiple bids out on homes at any given time.
There's many people that have the frustration of being in competition with another investor because, they just can't compete because typically investors are going to put in a cash offer in as is. They're going to buy it as is versus, a first-time home buyer would typically have a contingency for a home inspection, a radon inspection, they'll have financing contingency. There's so many contingencies in there that even if the investor's offer could be $5,000 or $10,000 less, they'll have a better chance of potentially potentially securing that sale just because there's, the seller doesn't have anything to worry about at that point.
What about existing home purchasers who have a contingency on getting rid of their existing home?
Absolutely. I mean, most people would love to have a cash offer as long as, it's not like a huge reduction in price. But I've seen many foreclosures and short sales even where the banks just prefer to work with the cash offer just because they know they don't have to negotiate after the original offer is made. The report had showed that foreclosure sales accounted for 13% of sales and 11% were short sales. So that's about 24% of the market right there. Versus in August, 22% of the sales were distressed in August and 30% in September of 2011. Foreclosures, this is a national number. They also said foreclosures sold for an average discount of 20% from market value in August. I think that number is completely skewed as well, Lewis, because in the Washington, D.C. metro area, we're seeing many foreclosures and short sales that are being priced at actual market value.
Again, the difference in your local market versus nationally.
Exactly. Now, in the deals, the people that think that you can get these just awesome deals, 50% discounts. Well, be prepared to walk into a house that has mold, that's falling down, that has a foundation that's cracking, something that is going to require tons and tons of cash. It's not going to be the house that you walk into that's move-in ready. You're not going to get a significant discount. Now, could you get a 2 or 3% discount? Probably. What we're seeing, though, is a move for a lot of these banks, even Fannie and Freddie. They're going in, they're renovating the houses just up enough, new carpet, new paint, and putting it back on the market as if they were just an ordinary seller. So you're really not going to find those deals, especially in the D.C. metro area, Virginia, Maryland, D.C. You're not going to find those fantastic deals unless the property is in need of work.
And you know who's going to grab those? The investors, because they've already lined up contractors and subcontractors to fix them up quickly and it's at a price that has economies of scale. So you can't compete with that either. Not only can you not compete on the cash aspect because you have to wait for your credit and your credit contingencies, if you have to fix the home up, it's going to cost you a lot longer, a lot more, and a lot longer to fix it up than an investor.
Absolutely. We're coming up on a break, Lewis. When we come back, ex-Goldman Sachs banker Greg Smith accuses his former firm of ripping clients off, and I'm going to give you more of the details when we come back. Stay right there.